Our perfect companions never have fewer than 4 feet. And that's a quote by Sidonie Gabrielle Colette, somebody French, I guess. So thanks again for listening to the show, or thanks for being here for the first time. And you're going to love my guest, Lisa Franciscan. Did I say that right? Or
Yes, you
Franciscone.
did.
And she is all about animals. And so we're going to talk about that. Just a reminder, LucyDumasCoaching.com, Lucy with an I, is where you can find out more about me. And if you want a 20-minute chat about anything, or if you want to, um, yeah, just have a question or apply to be a coaching client, that's where you would go. If you want to see my photography, it's just Lucy Dumas, Lucy with an I. All right, so let me tell you about this lovely lady who lives in the Illinois Quad Cities area. She's been capturing the relationships and personalities of families and children since 2004. In 2016, she decided to focus on pet photography, and now her primary client has fur and whiskers. I like that. She creates gorgeous portraits of family pets, service dogs, and therapy dogs. She also works closely with local animal shelters and rescues to provide both portraiture and help raise money to help in caring for animals and the adoption process. So, welcome, Lisa. Thanks for being on The Profitable Photographer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, what's one of the main ways that you raise money for the adoption community?
Oh gosh, let me see. In 2017, I started with calendars. I think a lot of people, that's where they start. And what we did is I had sessions at my studio, paid sessions by the clients, and then we would put them on the images online and do a vote. And then the top 12 the first year, the top 24 the second year went into the calendar. And then we sold the calendars, and the shelter kept the profit from those calendars.
And I assume you got new clients and got advertising uh, well
Absolutely.
there.
Yes, it was wonderful. I had new clients coming in. I was on TV twice
Wow.
as the local news stations picked up what I was doing. And so I did that for about 3, 4 years, and then calendar sales started to drop a little bit.
Mhm.
So now I went to every other year, and now I've gone to about every 2, 3 years. And now next year I should probably look at doing some kind of themed calendar.
Mhm.
And let me see, what else have we done to raise money? Last year was my big project that I undertook. We called it Fostering Art, in which we raised money for the shelters, their fosters. So those people
Mm.
that would bring the cats, the puppies, the kittens home to care for, to get them out of the shelter because our shelters are so full. And so what I did with that one was these were complimentary sessions all around my other work for the fosters. And the fosters would bring their kittens, their cats, puppies, dogs, whoever was in their home, and I would photograph them. Each one came with a theme. So I was buying props all summer long, and I created maybe 1 or 2 images. Then from there, I found a place that would donate a space for me, so I didn't have to rent the space. And we created an event called the Fostering Art Gala.
Mm.
And what it was, first of all, I found sponsors to help pay for the prints.
Oh, good.
Because what we did was we printed and framed each one of the foster images that came in, and then paired it with a raffle basket.
Mm.
And I went out and got all kinds of raffle baskets. And I tell you, my community was so awesome because these were huge baskets coming in. And so on the day of the event, we had the images displayed with the raffles. And originally I wanted to do an auction off the art pieces, but the director at one of the shelters said that we would make more money doing it as a raffle. And I went, okay, the whole goal here is to raise money for you. So I think we ended up with 20 images and 20 raffle baskets. We had people coming in and out all day long. I had an artist volunteer her time, and and now dogs were welcome to this event.
Oh,
And
fun.
so the dogs would come in. Oh, it was crazy. The dogs would come in and she donated little canvases, and then they put the paint on the canvas, put the canvas in the bag, put the peanut butter on the bag, and then the dogs licked them. And so everybody went home with art from their dog.
Oh, how
And the
fun.
proceeds from that, she donated to the fosters too. I had a trainer come in and do a half-hour talk about working with your pets at home. That went over really well. I had volunteers walking around with pup cups on trays, because when you go to a gala, you have your waiters and waitresses walking around with champagne. Well, we just did it with pup cups.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I,
I was exhausted by the time it was done.
yeah.
And then what I did was with the money that we raised, I had wish lists from all the fosters that participated in the sessions. I went out and shopped for them and personally delivered their goodies on their wish list.
Wow.
And I tell you, that was probably the best part, showing up with these big bags full of things that they needed.
Uh-huh.
And it helped offset some of the costs from the shelters, because the shelters always pay for the everything that these fosters need.
Yeah.
So I was
Wow.
able to just give back a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. And you got great
Yeah.
exposure and potentially new
Yep.
clients. So, okay,
Always new
that's all for
clients.
today. That was such good information. We don't even have to continue. Just kidding. But, I like to have one or two really valuable, um,
Sure.
doable action things in my show, and you just started us off with a bang. I love that.
Oh, good.
Love that.
Yeah. So,
So,
and the other thing that I will do for fundraisers, excuse me, is high volume events where I will go on location. And if you think of the pricing for school pictures, if you think of how long school pictures take, what people would do is they would sign up for a time, bring their dog to the event. I take a couple pictures with this because I want all the money to go to my shelters. It was all digital files, so I didn't have to do any printing. There wasn't a whole lot of time on that end involved. And I tell you, those go over really well because I also get new clients from them too. And of course, you have to talk them through, this is a high volume event and this is my studio. And these are the differences. You really have to educate them the difference of what they're going to get when they're coming for two or three image versus a session in my private studio that we're going to have 20 to 25 images for them to look at. They come to their in-person sessions. So but they're fun. It gets me out in the community. It
mhm.
helps get my name out in the community. It's a passion of
Yeah,
mine. So I never go, oh, I got to go raise money, that
right,
kind of thing.
right, right, right. One little thing, paging way back. I've heard of people instead of calendars doing coffee table books, and those
Yes.
are selling more now because nobody uses a calendar. Uh, you know,
No, they
we're all
don't. And
using
that's what I was
online,
finding.
and also it's not dated, so it doesn't.
Yep.
You don't have like, and we've got to get these in people's hands and get them sold because the
Yep.
year's coming up and all of that, and it's also sort of more elite to be in a book.
So,
So
yeah.
just putting that out for
We
people
um
to think about.
we did a Yes, and coffee table books are really good. The more you can get your clients involved and engaged in them as far as what goes into them, gosh, maybe about 4 years ago, I did want a treat sessions. And of course, it's dogs catching treats, it's people bringing ice cream in. And what we did with these images, we created a book. Now, these were soft cover books, and we did a recipe book for animals. So not only would people come in, pick their image out, they would bring their favorite dog recipe. And if they were like, I don't cook, I don't do anything, then I would find recipes. So not only did we have books for them with their pets in them, it was something they could go back and use for those that like to cook and make dog treats for their
Mm,
pets. So that went over really well too.
nice, nice. Um, one of my friends, Mark Brandis, for decades, um, horses
Mm-hmm.
were one of his specialties. And so he
Sure.
would pick a community. And so it'd be like the horses of, well, in his case, it might be an area of Orange County, so Laguna Beach or something. And he did the same, no, he had them pay for the session and the privilege of being in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And with the high-end upscale approach that
Yes.
you also do. But so many good ideas. And with pets, like it's different. I photographed um, my little neighbor boy. Oh, he's so cute. And because I was sitting on
Oh.
my porch and it was evening and there was sweet light, and I just took a few pictures and sent them to her. And then she said, please don't put them on social media. And then I'm like, well, then I'm not doing
Mm-hmm.
it again, probably. But
Yes.
with a pet, I wouldn't get anybody. It would be rare to run into somebody that would be like, oh, don't put my pet on social media.
I don't think that's ever happened to me. Now, I've had sessions where we've had their kids and the pets, and they'll
Sure.
say, please don't put my kids online, but you can put our dog online. So that's what I do.
Yes, yes.
Um,
All right.
yeah,
So,
it's
yes,
yeah, everybody wants to talk about their pets. The
yes.
minute they hear, oh, you're a pet photographer, the cell phone's coming out, and I am looking at all these snapshots as I hear the stories. And that's what we are as photographers, is we're storytellers. And how wonderful is it to hear the story of a pet and be able to bring that story into the studio and create the images. So they're like,
Mhm,
oh, yeah, I remember that, especially with expressions, favorite toys, that kind of things.
mhm.
Everybody wants to talk about their pet.
It's true. My neighborhood is a very walkable, um, older neighborhood, and I hang out on my front porch a lot in the evening, late afternoon, reading a book on my laptop and petting all the dogs. And I I'm
Mhm.
a kid person. I've never had a dog, but the dogs gravitate
Okay.
to me. And so I've
Oh,
to learn about dogs in a way that I didn't understand. And there are certain dogs that they'll know I'm on the porch without seeing me,
hmm,
and they'll pull their owner like race to come and get pets and attention from me. So it's one of the joys of my
that's
life.
awesome.
And so I get what you're saying, that every animal has their story. They're not just all these
Yes.
same little, furry creatures, but I mean my favorite
Mhm.
Archie, oh my God, he's a what's it? One of the doodles. He's golden. So I guess a golden doodle.
Okay, cool.
And there's just something about his soul that I'm so in love with. And yeah,
Yep.
so I suppose, so I was going to ask you why you switched from pets to families and kids. Um, so maybe it's part of this or some other something.
Well, I think I can talk about that because it was a split decision, which is crazy because I always plan. I'm a big planner. But I decided on not on a whim because there were steps I had to take. I
Sure.
didn't wake up one morning and say, "Oh, I think I'll be a pet photographer today," because I had no marketing. I didn't have a business plan in place for it. And I still had people sessions
Hmm.
and family sessions. But what happened is I had this gal bring 6 chocolate lab puppies into the studio. And I've photographed pets before with families and always try and get a single one here or there just because I am an animal lover. And it was the craziest session I've ever had. These puppies were all over the place. They were snuggling, they were nonstop motion, they were peeing all over the
Yeah.
place. But they left, and I was exhausted. I said, "This is what I want to do."
Mm.
And so, what I did, it took me 3 years to
Wow.
build this pet photography business, going from families and children to almost exclusively pets. I still do a family every once in a while and a senior every once in a while, but there's a pet involved. And so over that 3-year plan, I redid my business plan. I redid my goals. I redid my objectives so that I had a plan to follow. I invited vets into my studio. I invited
Mm.
trainers into my studio. Anyone that worked with pets got a free pet session from me. One, I was building my portfolio. Two, I was asking questions
Mm.
about working with animals, just any question I could think of, whatever their specialty was with pets. I was asking questions because I needed to learn how to work with them. I had my own dog, my own cat. Well, that's completely different working with someone else's dog or cat that don't know you. And I learned about animal behavior. Um, I changed my lighting up a little bit
Mm.
because once the lighting's set, it's set.
Right.
Especially if you've got a puppy in the
You're
studio,
not
I
getting
need
like,
to be focusing on the
oh,
dog
let
or the
me move
cat.
that little cat, sweet catch light just so
Yes.
that it shines just right on the shoulders. No.
Yeah. That being said, over the years, I've gotten really good at it where I can lean over and push the light and know it's going to land or move where I need it to do while I'm
Yeah.
still working with them. That takes a lot of practice too, just
Yes.
going through the flow and the movement. Because once you start a session and you have their attention, well, it's like working with toddlers.
Yes.
You have to move quick, otherwise they're done.
Yes. So a little just,
So,
I want to
yeah,
just interject
yeah.
this. I love that you said that because that has been my theory. Have not photographed very many pets, but I've photographed a lot of toddlers. And the
Mhm.
hat that I would put on is the toddler hat where they understand, but they can't communicate back to you in words. So you have to get on a different level. And with toddlers, you have to work fast. You have to distract them. You can't say, "Oh,
Yeah,
go over there and stand." You have to park them there, get their
yeah,
attention with toddlers. So you can tell me if this is the same. Get the shot, and then have somebody catch them as they run away. Often, I mean, except for the part where you can't teach a kid to sit and stay, but a dog.
yeah.
A dog can, but
And
yeah, that
sometimes they
energy.
won't even sit and stay.
No, but there's
Um,
potential and there's not
yes,
with
there's
us.
potential. And when I work with parents of dogs, because they are their parents, my most of my clients are either young and they don't have kids yet, so their dogs and kitties are their babies, or they're older and the kids have moved out and the dog and the cat have become their babies.
Mhm.
So, and they're, yes, I am a dog parent, I am a cat parent, and that's how I address them. And what I have found in learning how to work with them, it's way different than what I used to do in my consultations because their concerns are a lot different. They they're concerned that, what if my dog won't sit still?
Uh-huh.
No problem. I have noisemakers, we have leads, we have all kinds of things that we can do in the studio to catch their attention just for a second or two. We do treats, and I really have to educate and work with these parents and build trust
Mm-hmm.
that they're like, okay, Lisa, I will listen to you. I trust you. Do your thing. Tell me what to do when I show up. And so when I start working with people, whether it's emails that come in, whether it's a phone call and we're starting the consultation process, whether I'm a vendor at an event, that is the first thing I have to do is say, you have to learn to trust me. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of your precious baby, and we're just going to have fun.
I
And look
love,
what I can create for you when you walk out of my studio.
I love that. I love that. So, I was going to ask you, and I think that's um, tip number one, but for like 4 or 5 tips of things to know about photographing pets. So I'll call that number one is managing and elevating the expectations of the clients, calming their concerns, assuring them that this is going to go well and that they're going to get
Mhm.
something incredible. So, what, in terms of actually working with pets, you said you've got to work fast, um, or
Mhm.
I don't know. So, tell me, working with pets, what would be
Another tip.
different with, or another tip would be different
Another
with kids?
another tip. When they first come into the studio, now I'll take a step back here. My first career, I was an educator.
Ah,
That was my whole college training. And so I still feel like I'm educating. It's a different student that I'm educating. And so from the minute that we start planning their session till all the way to me delivering their products, I'm teaching them. And when they arrive at the studio, and they've already been given this information once, but I'm going to repeat it sometimes a couple of times if they're nervous. But okay, for the tip, you don't want to start photographing the dogs or the cats right away. I
okay.
need to let them, I've got to let them sniff.
Hmm.
My studio smells like hundreds of dogs.
Right. So does
And
my
so we've
porch.
got to let these dogs, yep, just like your porch, we've got to let these dogs sniff and wander. And while they're doing that, now some photographers will have the owners keep them on the leash
Hmm.
until they're ready to go. I don't mind the chaos. I'm like, go ahead, take them off, let them roam, let them have some fun. Well, what if they have an accident? Not a problem. I have 5 bottles of stuff here. I'll clean it up and we move on. Um, but when they first get here, the dogs have to acclimate to the studio. When when do I know that they're ready? When they start making eye contact with me or they'll accept a treat from me.
Huh.
When that starts to happen, I bring them onto the studio where I'm going to have them sitting or standing or do whatever we're doing. And I pair flashing my lights with the treat. So I pop my light, give them the treat. So they're starting to understand the lights aren't scary. I'm going to get lots of treats.
Hmm. That's brilliant.
So
Okay.
being patient with
So let me say
with
that.
the dogs,
Hold on.
letting them acclimate and get used to the studio. Yeah, sorry.
I just want to summarize. Um,
Sure.
so when they come in the studio, you give them space to wander, to sniff,
Mm-hmm.
to get comfortable. And then when they make eye contact, you bring them into the set uh, with the lights,
Yep.
and then you acclimate them to the flashes by flashing and giving a
Mm-hmm.
treat. So it's the Pavlov's dog uh, all over
Yes.
again, connecting the dots. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what would be then the next
So
thing to know?
another tip to go along with this is while I'm getting the dog ready, I'm also getting the owner ready for the session. They've had this information at least twice already, but I remind them when your dog is out there, they're going to see me lay down because, and I'll tell, oh, that's another good trip. They're going to see me lay down. They're going to say, why is that person over there who's been loving on me over there and I have to stay here? Right. And so I need to tell parents it's okay if they move. We love movement. They don't get in trouble. We don't yell at the dog. Dogs never get yelled at in my studio. No one ever gets into trouble. So we just have to keep reminding the owners that are nervous, that are stressed, what's going to happen. Once again, reminding them that I'm going to take care of them.
Yeah. Again, a lot like photographing kids, because when
Yep.
parents are so worried about the kids being good and
Mm-hmm.
such, there's a tension. And I'm like every
Yes.
kid's Aunt Lucy, where I, I have a lot of grace because I'm just trying to get that 1/25th of a second, or if it's outdoors, uh,
Yep.
now it might be 400th of a second to freeze their movement. But
Yes.
and I also want their personalities to come through. So is that about the same? Like dogs have personalities?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
absolutely. All right.
A lot of
So
moving parts there.
okay, so when you get um your subject or subjects in front of the camera, then what?
It's important to have a workflow because when you're working with animals, every session is different. You never know what's going to happen. And if you have a set workflow working with dogs, you can still manage whatever is happening. You can still photograph the personalities and the things that the images that the parents want. So my workflow is very simple. It doesn't have to be 30 different poses.
Hmm.
So we always start with what every dog knows is sit.
Uh-huh.
So I do sit, stand, down. Those are my three main poses. If they don't know how to do any of them, I skip them.
Oh,
I don't make a big deal out of it. I just move on because I have other things we can do. I have three different chairs that we put them in. So after sit, down, stand, we move to the chairs.
mm-hmm.
At that point, remember earlier when I was talking about leaning over and pushing my light? I
All right.
start with portrait
So your
lighting
lights are on wheels, I'm
and I'm going to,
assuming.
yeah, and I'm going to push it over and get some of that side lighting
Mm-hmm.
and start over.
Mm.
Standing, sitting, down, maybe on a chair. These are my close-ups because as we all know that side light comes across and oh my gosh, the texture in the fur and the whiskers and the ears is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Then what I do is I'm going to leave that light here and I'm going to have the dog turn and face the light to do some profile images. So very little movement. And I tell the parents, I said, you're going to stand by that light because they're going to be looking at you, and that's what I want. And then I wait. And when that head starts to turn towards me and I can see both eyes for that profile image, I'm taking the picture.
Wait a minute. So
And
you
then from
stand
there, we're done.
so you stand over by the light and you have a trigger?
I have the no, I have the owner over by the light where I'm still in front of them so I can do profile
So the owner gets attention to get the
headshots.
profile.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
That's all I need is the owner, them just looking at the owner because eventually they move their
Oh,
head. When they move their head, there's my shot.
boom. Yeah. So gosh, we work so similarly when I was doing lots of babies in the studio. I for the ages where they won't just straighten and slide out. So
Hmm.
newbornish, I have a beanbag chair that I would cover in fluffy
Okay.
fabric, and I would put the light um, kind of behind, you know, sort of pointing towards the camera in a way. And then I would put the mom to the
Hmm.
side so that I would get a semi profile and she could be pretty close and make
Yep.
noises and the baby's little fingers and toes are moving and she's getting attention. And just when they look up at her, click, and you get this beautiful, not looking at the camera,
Yes.
looking at mom. So, yeah, things that work in
Yep.
many different ways is the moral of that story.
Yeah.
And I love
So,
the
and
workflow and having a plan. Also,
yeah,
I would also give you confidence. I'm going in here. This is my system. I
yes.
start here. I do this, so that if you're having
Yep.
some of those challenging days or challenging subjects or
Hmm.
even clients, you've got that
Yes.
safety net of your plan. Does that, do you agree
Hmm.
that's
Yep. Yep. It's always something that you can step back into. And I'll be honest, when I first started doing this, I had a little note card that I
uh-huh,
kept near me, and I had those poses written down. Oh, move the light. And now I can do it in my sleep. But I had no problem having a card next to me saying, all right, this is what we're going to do. And I wouldn't tell the parents, the pet parents, I wouldn't say, okay, this is my card. This is what we're going to do. I just did it
right,
because they are so focused. I needed them focused somewhere else than me actually doing what I was supposed to be doing
right, right. I love
for
that.
them.
And people can feel that when
Yes.
you're grounded, then they relax. I mean, the hardest things, like the
Hmm.
one session I did with a toddler where I was like, we need to start over. I didn't put it like I didn't get anything that you, because there was a goal of an art piece, and it wasn't like I didn't get anything for the art piece. Didn't say that. Just why don't we go outside and put some space around
Yeah.
your kid? And the actual reason was the mother would not trust me with anything I tried to do. And she would say, I know my kid. I know he's not going to want to do that. I know he can't move that way. I know. And,
Hmm.
but when we went outside, I could get a little more away from her and do the
Yep.
things. And I came up with some incredible images that I don't know if I entered it in competition, but I know it would have done really well in competition. It's
Hmm.
been a big hit. So
Yeah.
what I hear is that you
Yep.
develop their trust in many different ways. Now, how are you planting the
Yes.
seeds? So you do in-person sales. Are they
I
purchasing
do in person.
Walmart books? What's some of the products?
Um, I do offer digital files, but if they do purchase digital files, it's maybe one or two of them to have. My main products are albums
Hmm.
and wall art. And it's not real hard to sell that just because my older population clients, my older clients don't want to mess with trying to figure out how to download digital images. They want their prints. They want something for their wall. They will order small prints, gift prints. They want me to do it for them. And I am more than willing to do that.
Hmm.
As far as planting seeds, the seeds are planted when we start the consultation.
Got it.
Uh, I mean, the first thing in my consultation, tell me about your dog, tell me about your cat. And then then I'm
Mhm.
taking notes like crazy. And part of the consultation then is I ask them, what are you looking for? And they always say, well, I don't know. I want to see the pictures first. But
Hmm.
then it's my job to guide them. Oh, I understand completely. I never know, even when I'm photographing my own dog, what I'm going to do with it. But here are some options that I want you to think about and take a look at your walls and see if you can picture your pet on that wall. And so those are just little seeds to plant during the session itself. Now, I do show them back of the camera just to say, I am getting something.
Hmm.
I know your dog's been running in circles and hopping up and down, but I will show them pictures just to help continue to build that trust. But I will say, got it. And I will get excited because I am. I say, oh my gosh, here's your wall portrait.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the one. You're going to love it. I cannot wait for you to see it. This is the one that I will retouch for you. And they're like, oh, and then I show them the back of the camera and they're like, oh. wow. And I'll say, now you see that light stand, that won't be in the picture. And they're like,
Huh?
we know, Lisa.
Yeah.
So, and as far as selling albums, they want all of them.
Right.
And an album gets them all of them because they may not have wall space, especially for my returning clients. Their walls are already filled with my work.
Hmm.
So then we move into the albums
I love it. I love it.
and planting seeds when they come. I do all my consultations online unless someone requests for me to meet their dog, and that happens every once in a while. But while the dog is acclimating to the studio, I'm showing them a one of my albums. I'm saying, oh, while she's sniffing around, here, take a look at this. This is what I was talking about when on the phone. So those seeds are planted way before we sit down for the in-person sales.
So here's what I'm hearing from,
In-person sales are
go
easy.
ahead. In-person sales are what?
I said in-person sales are easy because I've done the work
Right.
beforehand.
Right. So here's what I'm hearing. And when I'm coaching or teaching about my basically six section plan on how to have 3 to 7 wall portraits with every client, the first is about the sales um, mindset. And what I'm hearing from you
Yes.
is what I teach all the time is you have to develop leadership and their
Yes.
trust. And so then when it comes to that, what do you what do you want from these? They trust you. You've you've guided them, you've
Yeah.
planted those seeds, you've been the driver. And I think that's a big
Yes.
switch with people when they're like, "Ah, I'm not good at sales and I am afraid and it's a dirty word." And so I just let them do what
Yeah.
they
And
want. People want to be led and guided. This is our expertise. You were going to
yes.
say something on that.
Yeah. And, when you think of sales, we're providing a service, we're providing an experience, and that's what we have to sell. And in order to provide this, you have to trust me. And
Right.
so, honestly, there's times I think selling myself is much harder than selling a wall portrait
Uh-huh.
because it's, I mean, the wall portraits are important, but they've got to grab my hand and grab a leash, and we have to do this together because I can't do these sessions without the owners either. They know their babies. They know what words are going to get those heads to tilt. So it's not, I'm doing this for you. And
Right. Right.
so,
And and you've developed that trust, but also authority. That's the other thing I'm hearing in
yes.
everything you've shared and everything you do for marketing. And well, I don't know everything you do for marketing, but the things we've talked about develop
Sure.
that sense that you are an authority on this and we can just relax and let you guide
Mhm.
us and like when people say,
Yep.
"Oh, I love what you just said a little earlier." You ask them, "What do you want?" But sometimes people will say, "Yeah, I just let them tell me what they want." But what I heard you say and what I know is people don't really know what they want because they haven't done this before. Now, if they have, that's a whole
No.
other story and they're already all set up for books and wall
Hmm.
portraits and what the experience is. But
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
don't, this is an area that we haven't, it's not like going to 31 flavors and picking from the 31. And you've been
Yeah.
there, I've been there since I would ride my bicycle at 10 to go to 31 flavors. But you educate and you
Yeah.
guide and you lead. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. And for marketing, I know people are, oh, I can't market, I can't market. Yes, you can. You can market. It's easy.
Hmm.
Two things. Well,
Okay.
three things
Okay.
are
One.
centered around my marketing. Number one, why pet photography? And I have a whole list of things as to why you should have your pet photographed. all the way from puppyhood to the milestones to the bonds. Yes, family members are invited to the seniors.
Hmm.
I love photographing seniors. They're probably my most emotional sessions. So,
Yeah.
number one, why pet photography? Why should you have your pet photographed? Number two, and this is the heart of it, why should you choose me to photograph your pets? Why choose me? And this just goes, we've talked about this from the beginning here, building that trust.
Hmm.
And, but, and building that trust is, first of all, in my area, I am the only pet photographer that is in a studio.
Mm.
Um, Traditional studio lighting, it is not boring. It is so much fun because I'm going to make it fun for you. And I tell them, you are in my studio. It's safe. It's quiet. There's no distractions. We're not going to chase after squirrels. There's
Uh-huh.
not going to be people
Literal
walking by.
squirrels.
It's just going to be us. Yes, no squirrel moments. And when you're here, so that's part of that. Why me? I'm going to give you a safe place to bring your dog because there are dogs that are shy. There are dogs that are reactive, and that's okay. That doesn't bother me because I've learned how to work with them.
Hmm.
So I understand animal behavior. So I can light. I understand animal behavior. I am patient. I tell them I can outpatient any dog, and I will sit there with my camera waiting for a head turn or for them to come out of their zoomies.
Hmm.
Um, and for each photographer, it's very personal why you should choose me because that's where you go in and you write down what are my strengths? What am
Hmm.
I really good at? And that's what you market. And then you follow that up with number three, what's in it for them?
Mm.
What are they going to get out of this? What are they going to get out of the fact that I know how to work with animals? That shy dog is going to settle down and blossom. Why is it important that I know what kind of treats to have on hand and what kind of noisemakers to have on hand? Because using those, that's how I'm going to catch the expressions, the stops, and everything that they are looking for in their animals. So that's the third part. What's in it for them? We
Hmm.
are providing a service. What's in it for them? I've had people come in and say, I don't want a wall portrait. Okay. So they'll either buy an album or they'll buy a stack of 5x7s and 8x10s. And I'm okay with that.
Mm.
I am okay with that because I am providing what they need. And, I'm still paying my bills. The paycheck is still coming in.
Right, right. And I don't know about you, but
We go the route that they need.
a lot of people who will say that initially, once they've been through the process and they see the work, I use a
Mm-hmm.
projector and a movie screen so they see it
Yep.
big. And I have my little tricks to get them to want the wall
Mm-hmm.
portraits, and they often change their
Yes.
mind. But having it be okay and being priced so that if they order
Mm-hmm.
just smalls, you still have made the income
Yes.
that you need on the average
Yes.
per session. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, you want them to feel good about what they're purchasing too.
mhm.
I'm not going to shove an album down someone's throat if they want just one big wall piece and a few 5x7s. It's all what they want and what they need.
I love that. Lisa, it's so
Yeah.
clear that you trained to be a teacher. You you gave so much practical information, but also fun stories that have me
Yes.
thinking, gosh, maybe I'm going to start a new business. I actually, right about when you made the change, my spidey sense was saying, there's an open road for high quality pet photography right now. It's
Yes.
going to be a thing. And I've watched that unfold. I've watched that with my coaching clients. Many of them, we
Hmm.
built their business over with pets because they love that. And it's just there. And what I love, you can tell me if this is not true or true. So one of the great things about wedding photography is there's so many vendors to network with. And it's hard with children and
Mhm.
families to find people to network. It's harder because people, it's different. But with pets, there's so many small businesses that you can network and
Yes.
partner and do gift certificate programs and um,
Yep.
all the things. So it's such a great potential business, especially for people
Yep.
that are, you know, good with networking or want to learn. Thoughts on that?
Mhm. Um, yeah, I have to say that it was my business partners that I started partnering with was what helped me grow as a pet photographer. That's what helped. I mean, the fundraisers were good, but when you're partnering with another business,
Hmm.
it's a different mindset because it's a business and you both have bills to pay. You're out to make money. So you work with those connections. And oh my gosh, I've worked with vets, I've worked with bakery, doggy bakeries, I've worked with groomers, I've had someone worked with someone, she does bandanas and has businesses like that.
Hmm.
It's just getting, I mean, it's just getting online, getting on social media and seeing what's out there and then reaching out to them. But they really helped me grow my business, and I hope in my that I also help them grow their business too, because I want them to bring me clients, but I need to be bringing them new clients too,
Right.
so it's a true partnership when you're
Absolutely.
working with them.
Yeah. When I did weddings, um, when I was at a bridal show, I referred people all day long after I would meet a bride or bride and mom or a bride and groom and get them, connected with me before they left the booth. I would say, "What else are you
Sure.
looking for?" And I would send work to my cake baker who we got each other so much work, to my favorite DJ, and so these people would get work from my referral and hear my name over and over again. So yeah, those relationships, I love hearing that that has been a huge part of your business because I think with shelters,
Yes.
I've heard that a lot of people put a lot of work into supporting them and not gotten a lot back. Um, but because you
Yeah.
have multi layers and so many things going on, then it's this additional way to be seen and to get a client base. So
Yep.
such good
And
info.
I work I work really well with my shelters, going back to what you've just said. The people that work from shelter, that work at shelters on a daily basis, they see the worst of humanity.
Oh, I bet.
And look, see, I'm about ready to start crying just because of the stories that I have been told. And so when I'm working with shelters, they're very overwhelmed. I mean, my shelters around here are overwhelmed. They are packed. Our foster homes are full. And so when I work with them, I ask, all I ask is that they will share everything that I send them. I
Mm,
take care of all the marketing pieces. I do all the write up for them because it's the same stuff I'm doing for my own business anyway. And I have a contact person. And when I send them something, oh, here's a social media post. Can you get this posted this week? Yep, no problem. So I'm taking some of the stress of a fundraiser away from them. And it's worked to my benefit because I've made really good friends just outside of business. You know, we go out for lunch, we go out for coffee. And so it's a different way to approach the shelters a different way than you would businesses that you partner with,
right, right.
because the goals are different.
Yeah.
And it
And
can still be done. It can
and
still be done.
and what I'm hearing too is that you really expect mutuality. If they are just like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, come photograph all these dogs," and then they don't share, they don't do anything for you. It's that
Yep.
not going to go into stories I've heard locally, but
Mhm.
some they're like, first of all, they're overwhelmed, but that it has to be a partnership, or
Yes.
you're not going to do it unless you just choose to do it for love, for support, but without
Yeah.
any expectation of something coming back. People, you can do something
Yeah.
with the heart. When I
Um,
just quick, when I photograph foster kids, both for calendars
yep.
and for their heart gallery, where they have
Yep.
portrait events, I had zero interest in that being marketing. Um,
Yep.
and that was good too.
And I still work, yep, I still work with my fosters really close, just because of the relationships I built with them last summer as we
Mhm.
were putting this project together. And when they bring the dogs and the cats and the kittens and the puppies to the studio, for me, that is my service.
Yes,
That's how I look at it. It's my service. It's not my business. I mean, they're very short sessions. I mean, they're not getting 20 sessions, or I'm sorry, 20 images, just enough to help them promote these animals so they can find homes. However, when I'm fundraising, there's always a little bit of money for me to be made. If the shelter is making money from a product, I will also do fundraisers for where I will donate a session fee.
hmm
That's great. Those go to the shelters. Any extra money coming in from additional purchases, and there's always additional purchases,
hmm
that's mine.
yes,
And I tell them, I said, I need to do this because in order to help you, I've got to keep my business open.
right, right.
And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So, and I do it in a nice way, and they're always happy with what they receive. I'm always happy with what I receive.
right.
So,
Yeah. Oh, I love you saying that because I've seen discussions on Facebook about donating to charity events where people are like, I don't expect to make any money when I do that. It's a donation. And my response is always, I'm not going to donate 20 sessions in a year, full, incredible sessions. I can't afford to do that.
yes.
In a way that's not going to get a return. If I donate, and this is what I'm hearing with Foster, if it's a straight out service to the community donation,
Mhm.
it's for people who could not afford to work with me, or
Yes.
your foster people where I'm sure they spend
Mhm.
more doing that. So at a charity
Yes.
event, these are people who have financial resources that doing it for
Mhm.
free isn't necessary, but doing foster kids, foster, just anywhere
Yes.
um,
Yep.
where it's like one of my sessions I did once was for a family where both of the kids were medically fragile, and we knew that one of the kids
Mhm.
was eventually terminal. And I ended up giving them, this is not a brag, this is just
Mhm.
what's the difference? There's no way they could have afforded family portraits. And the portraits that I
Sure.
did for them and the images I created for them totally blessed their life. And and that's my
Yep.
reward. And like you,
Yep.
I also like to get rewarded in other places with the green green, not parrots, but the green prizes, we'll just say. So,
Yes. Yeah, and I think when you approach fundraising like this, saying, I am keeping the money from the additional images that are purchased, because depending on the event, I don't always do in person because if like this weekend, I had tons of people in. But we'll still hop on Zoom and say, all right, which ones do you want? I mean, you're still making that connection.
right.
And where was I going with this? I was going somewhere with this. Um, the shelters and the people that are involved in the fundraisers respect you as a business more when they understand that you're going to make money
Right.
because you also have bills to pay too. So,
And
and if they're not understanding that, then it's best just to move on and
yeah,
find someone
not a
else that does.
Well, Lisa, oh my gosh, this has been such a juicy interview with so much practicality and also
Oh, good.
inspiration. I love it. Your teacher heart is strong. The teacher force is strong with this one.
Yes,
So
yes, I love to teach.
I get it. Me too. That's why I had to do this podcast. Um, Two
Hmm.
questions. Number one, if people want to get in touch with you, get on your mailing list so that if you're offering any classes and things, uh, how
Yes.
would they see your work and how would they get in touch with you?
I would say right now I am actually working on classes for after the first of the year, doing some new things and adding to a lot what we've talked about today, but just really doing a deep dive into what we've covered today and the basis of and the foundation, which is brain-based learning for adults.
Love it. Okay, so how do
Something we
they
didn't
get in
even
touch?
get to today.
So how do they get in touch?
But to get Okay, you know what? The best way to get in touch with me and to see my work is if you just go to my website, momentsbylisa.com.
Hmm.
There's a contact Lisa, and I'll ask you questions about your pets and stuff like that. But just tell me what you're looking for as far as education, the type of classes, if you want more pet photography classes, if you want more marketing classes, because I do base a lot of my classes around who's interested in doing that.
Great,
And that way we can start a conversation between us. And then I'll always know where to find you. You'll always know where to find me.
great. And I know you have a PDF of your
Mhm.
workflow, and so would they
Yep,
send you
I
an email
do.
and say, please
You
send
know
me the
what?
PDF?
Yep, just contact me through the website again. Contact Lisa and say, hey, I saw the podcast. I want your workflow, and I will get it to you.
Great, great, great. Okay, so last question is to give you an opportunity to share either if there's some little thing that you thought, oh, I wish I had mentioned that, or something you want to leave us with. What's your parting thoughts here?
Um, I think it's just something that I want to leave you with because I have all kinds of information here
Yes,
and I don't want to get into anything new. But just be yourself when you're working with animals. If you are just starting off, know it's going to take a while to build that part of your business because it's tough. And but just have faith in yourself. And if you are a pet lover, your the owners are going to see that. It's going to show through your work, whether you're a studio photographer, whether you are on location, your love for animals is going to show through. And that's how you are going to tell people why they should hire you to be their pet photographer.
on that. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh, everyone stay tuned for my quick wrap up. And Lisa, thank you so much for saying yes to being on the
You.
show. I haven't had a
It
pet
was so much
photographer in a
fun.
while, and this is such juicy information. Um, so, yeah, I love it, and I'm really, really grateful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I learned so much, and I really love just that conversation all about pets and pet business. Lisa is just an amazing, amazing teacher, isn't she? Don't you agree? So here's some little quickie wrap up. Um, Important things to know about photographing pets are starting with alleviating fears of the pet parents, educating them about their worries and how you work, that you know how to get their dogs to be comfortable and sit and stay enough, and that she communicates like, I got this, don't worry. Um, so she says when the pets and their people come into the studio, she doesn't right away get them in front of the background. She lets them wander. She takes them off the leash or lets them get off the leash and just smell all the smells, especially of other dogs. Let them get adjusted. And then she says, when they start to make eye contact or take a treat, that's when she'll put them in the studio space. Um, and all the while that this is happening, she's also planting seeds, setting the preferences up and the potentials for what people might buy. And she's been doing this at a consultation beforehand as well. Another big tip is she has a plan. She has a workflow of starting with having them sit and then stand and then go down, having different props and chairs that she's going to use, doing side lighting as the next part of the workflow, and then profile. So she knows what she's going for. Um, we talked about what she sells mostly with her in-person sales, and it's albums and wall art. And then she talked about why marketing is easy for pets. As long as you can communicate why pet photography is something someone would want, and then why, number two, why they would choose you, building that trust. And number three is why is that valuable? What's in it for them? Let's see. So some of the, um, let's see. I think that's it. That's my summary. She's such a good teacher. And her last parting thought is about being ourselves, knowing it's okay for it to take a while to grow a new business, having uh, faith in ourselves, and the love of pets will shine through when we do that. So thank you again for listening, for checking out lucidumascoaching.com and subscribing and liking and all that stuff so that I know that out there around the world, people are paying attention and getting value from this podcast. Bye.